Welcome, everybody. We have yet another segment to our top three NES games. I have my good friend here, Akumamatata, and he's going to share his three favorite NES games. Go ahead, Akuma.
All right, so when I think about my top three NES games, which was a hard choice because it was the second system I had. My first one was the Atari 2600. I'll start off with number three, River City Ransom
Good
by
choice.
American Technos. That came out in like April 1989. A lot of people compare it to Double Dragon, which is fine because Double Dragon's an awesome game. But I liked it because it was like a goofy version of Double Dragon.
Yeah.
You know, you have the, you have the two guys. The girl gets kidnapped. They're off to rescue her. And it has like a lot of the same like fight mechanics. But this is a game that I liked a lot because it was fun to play with somebody.
Right.
It's a great two-person scrolling fight game. You know, plus it had the comedy elements like you battled the Dragon Twins. And you hear the Double Dragon music come up, and I remember the first time that happened, I was like, "Oh my god, this is awesome!" And you can like throw stuff and hit at other people. You know, it's one of my favorite like two people playing games. It's not something I'd just play by myself, but it's one of those experiences that if you have a friend, you could spend like hours going through it. And I like the fact that it's open world.
Yeah.
So, like, Double Dragon's pretty linear. You go from each stage to the next. And this one, you could, like, jump around.
Mm-hmm.
You could go to the school, or you could go to, like, an office building.
Right.
You know, and it's one of the earlier games that you had, like, this open world thing that wasn't an RPG. And for my number two, this was hard, was Batman, the video game.
The original Batman video game. Based on the
Correct.
the 89 movie, right?
Yes. Back then, you didn't really have you had like the Superman arcade, but you didn't really have a Batman video game.
Right.
So not only was this like the first one, but it was really fun. And it is a lot like Ninja Gaiden in terms of mechanics and music, but it's better because it's Batman.
It's Batman.
And one of the things I really liked is that back then when a movie came out, the major comic book companies put out a movie adaptation.
Oh, yeah.
And the Batman movie adaptation still holds up really well because of how well it was drawn and how well they worked with Tim Burton to make it.
Oh, that's cool.
And the cutscenes from the video game matches the art from the Batman movie adaptation comic.
Really? That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know it's purposeful, but like a lot of those scenes, it looked just like Jerry Ordway drawing, which I really appreciated. And for me, and a lot of this goes back when we get to some of the other questions, but yeah, it was just like it's like this great experience, and I could just sit and I could just play that game for hours on end.
Not to go too far off topic, but you said Jerry Ordway was.
Yes.
So who is he? I'm assuming he's a comic book artist, but can you give me a little background on him?
Yeah, he's back in the 80s. He mostly started off with DC. Like he used to do this thing called All-Star Squadron.
Oh, okay.
He used to ink this one called Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Oh, yeah.
And he got a lot of notice with the Batman comic adaptation. And then he later moved on to Superman. And he was one of the creative teams behind like the whole Death of Superman storyline.
Ah, okay.
So to talk my number one favorite NES game. This game was created in 1984, but it didn't come out. But Nintendo did not release it until 1989. So as you can see, 1989 is a great year for me in terms of like NES games. I know a lot of you guys weren't even like born then, like the 80s. But it's Tetris.
Oh, yeah.
That's like it's still like the most perfect version of a non-arcade Tetris out there.
Right.
and it's just like, man, like fascinated with the game. You can play like 2 players, you can play it by yourself, and it'll still be challenging. The great Russian music.
Yeah.
And I love, and I've always been a big Tetris fan. And there's been good versions since, but I still always have great space in my heart for that original NES Tetris game.
That's how I feel about the Game Boy version.
Yeah, that Game Boy version was great too.
It's the one I always go back to.
Yeah, I remember when I never had that, but I would always play somebody else that I knew, and they would get mad at me. So I'd always beat their scores, and so then I would so I had to stop playing their game.
Sorry to hear that. It looks like we need to get you your own Game Boy with Tetris.
I know. I have it. I mean, I have my Nintendo DS version of Tetris, which is close. The Tetris 99 I've just never got into because that's just about speed.
Yeah.
Not really about skill. And then they always try to make these little versions of Tetris and change it a bit, but what's wrong with just release the original Tetris game, Nintendo?
How can you improve upon perfection?
It won't be that hard for them to do. But they never have. When COVID first started, Noel and I ordered the board game of Tetris.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me that.
The original one. Yeah, that's really fun.
Yeah, you guys have already played it then. That's right, you told me.
but we played it too much with each other, so we have to try to expand it to play it with other people.
Oh, so it is more than 2 players?
No, just more variety.
Was that Noel?
It's like when we get into Dr. Mario, we really get at it.
Yeah.
So we have to throw in somebody else to balance it out.
That's cool. Well, so in your opinion, all 3 of these games, do you think they still stand up today? Would you go back and still play these games and have fun with them the same way you did back then?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's one of the things I missed with the Nintendo. The Switch, you play all these games, but where's Batman the video game? Where's the original Tetris? I mean, you have to find emulators or somebody has I have my own Batman cartridge. But still, I would love to just then play them on the big screen.
Yeah, well, particularly with Batman and Tetris, of course, it has to do with rights holders and things like that. And Nintendo rather just buy the rights to be able to make their own Tetris game than having to pay for the rights to release the old one. So.
Yeah, and I know you can still find River City Ransom that's still around, but that's with that game, that's one of the games that I like playing it, but I only really like playing it when I'm playing with somebody.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like that too with because when I play oh my god, and I know you like this game, Scott Pilgrim, the video game.
No, yeah, that's on my notes. Yeah.
It's totally inspired by River City Ransom, you can tell.
Yeah, because those are those fun 2-person beat up games.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, today, if you think about the games that are like that, yeah, Scott Pilgrim is definitely one of them. They do have the one called River City Girls,
right?
Which is fun. I mean, it's not it's a decent game. And then Double Dragon Neon.
Yeah, that's a good game.
Yeah, because that takes all the great stuff about Double Dragon and it goes comedic and over the top with it. Yeah. But it's a great game. But those are the ones you just want to play with somebody.
Right. I agree. They're a lot more fun when you play with multiple people. So how would you say these games shaped your current preferences or your current taste in gaming nowadays?
Well, how we just talked about with River City Ransom. If I want to do a beat up side scroller, I want to play with somebody.
Right.
And even with stuff like Final Fight or the Double Dragon, I think that helped me shape. Like, I have more fun playing with somebody than just playing with myself.
Right.
With the Batman game, for me, it was still like the Batman game until Arkham Asylum came along. Because there's other different versions and they were okay.
Yeah.
But they never really like. Some of them just felt like tie-ins to TV shows, or they're just like beat 'em ups.
Right, like the Batman animated series
Yeah.
games, and those were actually pretty good, but they weren't as good as that original Batman '89.
Yeah, and so it wasn't until like Arkham Asylum when I felt like, oh, okay, now we have like another great Batman game,
Right.
and that's like 20 years. And Arkham Asylum kept it up, with the sequel. Well, I haven't played Arkham Knight, but Arkham City was just as good too.
Yeah. Yeah, Arkham Knight's definitely the weakest of the three, but if you like the first two, you'll still like enjoy the third one.
Yeah, and Tetris. Yeah, I mean, I can still play Tetris anytime.
Yeah, I think that's an easy one.
So I just have to break out like my DS to play one like closest to the original Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
But I still miss like having like, or sometimes the arcades will still have that original Tetris game.
Right.
But yeah, I just miss like having like, having like I guess officially licensed Tetris game.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. How about honorable mentions? Do you have any games on your list that didn't make the top three you want to mention?
Yeah, there's of course Double Dragon. Like those first two Double Dragons are great. Castlevania, Duck Hunt. That's great. Especially like you have a group of people and trying to play it. I had a cousin who is sort of blind without her glasses, so she'd take the gun. And I remember when I was a kid, she'd hit the screen with the gun, trying to hit that duck. I was like, dead back. She just couldn't see, so she's like, a Gyromite. I never had the robot, but you can play it with two controllers.
Right, I've heard about that.
I think one of my favorite NES like games was like, at least to own, was that because when you bought the NES, you got the Super Mario Brothers / Duck Hunt twofer.
Right.
So 2 games in one. DuckTales.
Oh yeah.
And you can still play like, I like how they remastered those.
Yeah, DuckTales were good. That remaster's good.
Metroid. Of course, that was always really fun. Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because the right variety of. Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because of the right variety of characters, Mike Tyson. But his game was really good. And Dr. Mario.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still play that today. On the Wii.
You play the original NES version, or you play the Wii version that came out?
We play the Wii version.
Oh, okay.
And that's and that still keeps up with like how the NES was.
Right. Yeah, it's a good port. Or I guess a remake of that one.
Yeah, no, it's a great remake. And it's just as addicting, so.
I bet. All right, cool. Well, thank you, Ryan. I appreciate your time to coming and sharing with us and letting us know what kind of games you like. I know we're planning on doing other consoles in the future, so we'll definitely be coming to you, see what other games you like in those other consoles. So thank you, my friend.
Okay. Cool.